Welcome to the Winner's Circle, a podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. Enter the circle and learn what it takes to succeed in today's ever-changing landscape of entrepreneurship. Join Dylan, John, and guests as they talk about taking on the wins and losses of today's world of opportunity.
Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome back to episode 2 of the Winner's Circle podcast. Happy, what is it, 6th of July? Or no, we're on the, what are we on now, 6th of July? What's up, Dylan? How are you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. How are you?
Good. I hope you enjoyed your festivities. I got together with some family. It's funny because the whole time, like, I really enjoy my time off, but lately for me, it's kind of been, I've gotten to the point where I hate wasting time so much. I'll be at these functions and I'm like almost looking for stuff to do, or I'm creating my power list for the next day, just almost kind of get ahead of the game. But I had a good time. It was some nice downtime. Saw some good fireworks.
Dude, I do like the same thing. Like, so we were getting ready to go see some family and stuff like that, see some of my girlfriend's friends. And, the whole time I'm just thinking like, I'm logging into my power center. I'm answering messages from people. And like, we went on a dinner date. We went to Hibachi. And like, then I really try to stay off my phone because, obviously that's time with my girlfriend and I. But it's kind of cool because she respects the hustle and she knows that I'm trying to build a better future. So, respectfully by her, I make sure to try to stay off it as much as I can. But then in my brain, I'm like, oh my God, I probably have so many messages. I could be doing this right now. I got to close this. I got to do that. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I definitely know. In fact, I think it was my wife's the same way. I'm so blessed to have her as a partner, man. She's so supportive and she really understands how things are. We were gonna go do something. I think it was Wednesday, the day before the 4th of July. We needed to go out to the store and pick some stuff up. Well, I was in the shower getting ready. It was like probably 5. It was like 5 o'clock, I remember. And we were already like kind of running late because we needed some stuff to do. The stores were going to get closed. Kids got to get taken care of. And I look at my email and it was our lab saying that our labels needed to be adjusted. Now, this is like, normally this wouldn't be a big deal, but because our graphic designer was overseas at the time, it became like this total nightmare. And I'm like in this like panic rush to try and get things fixed right away, trying to get a hold of the right people, seeing what we could need. And then I was like, shit, tomorrow's the 4th of July. I can't get anything done tomorrow because no one's going to be there. So thankfully, I was a little proactive because we were using this app for our graphic design. And I'm not going to mention it because I will never recommend it to anybody after this nightmare that I've been through.
Oh boy.
And the communication was just terrible. So thankfully, somebody in our stream, our network marketing company, they actually run a graphic design. So I put something on Facebook. I was like, hey, I'm looking for a graphic designer. Let me know if you know anyone. And he's like, hey, let's meet up. We got coffee it was then on Friday. He's like, dude, if you need a change, I can fix it for you like in an hour. And he goes, I don't take vacation. I'm like, perfect. You're going to be my partner. I sat down. It was like just this massive relief lifted off my shoulders. So I wanted to talk about today, man. I want to talk about patience and work ethic. And this goes really hand in hand kind of with some changes you're making. But before we get to that, man, I figured from now on, whenever we do an episode, I want to kind of just look back over the last 2 weeks or however we since we've recorded. Of course, my phone goes crazy. So exactly, I'm checking it right now. Speak of the devil. But I wanted to kind of talk about our wins over the last 2 weeks. Some minor accomplishments, and I figured that would be not only motivating for ourselves and maybe some other listeners to kind of just reflect back on the last week or two. So what were some of your big wins over the last 2 weeks, man? What were some things that you were happy to get accomplished?
I gotta say, in the most douchiest bragging way. Like I kind of had a lot of wins, and it's cool. It's a good feeling. Like so for example, in like my credit repair business, it has been booming. Like I don't know like what happened like towards the end of the month, if people are getting checks or whatever's happening, but like there are people that were messaging me like 6-7 months ago, and just over the past like kind of almost that time frame, like the past 2.5 weeks, like they've been messaging me and they're like, hey, remember me? And like I'm not gonna lie to them and stuff like that, so like I scroll up in our previous messages before I say yeah. It's like I don't remember them. Then I'm like, oh shit, yeah, you want to talk to me about credit repair, what's up? And they're just like, yo, I'm ready. And I was like, fuck yeah. Like I was excited for that. I was like, all right, let's do this. Cause like, I really love what I do. It's not the money aspect. It's a couple weeks later, 30 days later, 45 days later, when I'm getting random screenshots sent to me of 100-point increases, 140-point increases. I had one person go up 162 points. Like,
Wow.
like I just had a lot of people that were like, hey, look at my new credit card. Hey, I refinanced my car like you told me, and now I'm paying half the interest rate because I got approved for the new loan. Like, hey, now I can, go finance that house. I can go apply now. Like, it's just the wins aren't so much for me, if that makes sense. But I'm happy to see like just the pure happiness and relief of the people that I've helped. And they're just like, I can't believe this is happening. I didn't think this was going to happen. And the kind of the cool part about my business, and maybe this doesn't happen for everybody, I don't know, but for anybody else that does it, but for me, I've been blessed to have like really grateful people, like clients. So I had this one girl, and she didn't really have a lot on her profile to begin with. So, I'm working on her stuff, and I was like, she'll definitely get some pretty decent results, but you can't guarantee anything. Anything could happen. So at first, I know sometimes, the scores go down, and it was on my end. I failed to mention to her that, like, hey, you can see, when you delete accounts, sometimes, that payment history goes with it. So there's a chance that if you have limited history, it could go down. So at first it goes down, and she screenshots it to me, and she's like, hey, I noticed this kind of went down. And I was like, yeah, don't worry, give it a little bit of time. And like, she didn't give me any crap. She was just like, you know what? I know you're working on it. You gave me your word, and I trust you. And I was like, holy shit.
Nice. Yeah.
Like that, like your score went down. And she was like, you know what? I trust you, whatever. So I want to say it was maybe a week or so later, which falls into this 2-week category. And she sends me another screenshot. I think when she sent it to me, it went down like 27 points or something like that. And she sends me a screenshot, and she's like, it went up 86 points.
Yeah, that's nice.
And so, like, even if you want to do like the math, I mean, 27 of it went down. So whatever the difference of that is. But end of the day, she was just like so ecstatic that it actually went up. And everybody has those customers kind of where, you can promise them something, or you try not to, but like you give them guidance on like what results they can expect. And if they get anything less than that, they freak. Like they freak and they feel entitled. Like, you told me it was going to do this. Why was it 1 point less? But with my people, it just didn't happen that way. Like, and for her to be so grateful for the increase that she saw, that was a big win for me. On top of like the Verizon stores, those are doing well. I mean, everybody's doing well. The relationships well, friendships are well. Coming into new opportunities, I'm helping people with their financials and their credit situation, and everybody's being happy because they're getting great results. So I mean, that's fine. How about you, man?
Yeah, man, that's awesome. I've actually, to speak on that, I've actually used a similar credit repair like you kind of offer. In fact, the person I used, I think, was probably one of your partners at some point to kind of help you open the business that you run with your credit repair business. And a lot of people will say something, oh, you could do it yourself or you can do it this. But I'll tell you what, man, the knowledge I gained from just talking to the guy who helped me with mine, somebody like me, I don't have all the time in the world to go on Google and research, how to repair my own credit. That's why
Right.
places like you exist, because I can say, hey, Dylan, what can you help me out here? You can give me some pointers. You can take it off. 30 days goes by, my credit goes up. I think when I used mine, it went up 60 points.
Nice.
So I was able to leverage that and kind of do a few things. So it's definitely worth it. As far as everything with me goes, I think the last 2 weeks I hit a major goal. The beginning of the goal, the beginning of the year, I set a goal to do 100K in sales with my e-commerce business. I hit 50K as of July 1st, so that's 6 months. I did 50K, so I'm definitely on track with everything. I'll probably actually do over 100 because between August and January, e-commerce is just ridiculous. It's just people spend money like it's just insanity. So that'll be taking up a lot of my time. We got our logo trademarked for my supplement company. We finally got a new partner with the graphic design, and we got through our alpha testing phase. So all our formulations are done. We're actually ready for launch. The only thing we're waiting on is just our labels. Our lab they actually contract out the label making. So we don't do our own. We design the labels, but we don't actually print and put them on our bottles. We just subcontract all that crap out. It's less of a headache. So we're just essentially waiting on that. And yeah, man, everything's on track. I helped my neighbors save some money on their electric bills. I met some really cool people over the last week. Hopefully I can help them get plugged in and get them on the right track. So again, it's a little bit of my business in some sense. Some of the stuff I do is a little different than yours. I have customers, I never see their face. I see their address and their, how much they paid me. So in some stuff, it's a little, different than yours, but that's why I love doing stuff like stream. That's why, launching the supplement company is huge for me, because I have a product here that, that people like taking, man. They can tell their friends and they get, energy at the gym. And it helps change people's lives, man. I know for me, when it came to working out, supplements were always a huge thing for me. I was always on some sort of supplements. I was always really kind of reading what I needed to take, what needed to be in the supplements I'm taking. So it'll be nice to really, once we're launched, be able to kind of change people's lives, in the gym and outside the gym. So, yeah, man, let's talk about. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say that's huge. Like that's awesome. That's like major progression.
So let's talk about patience and work ethic, man.
Those are fun.
They really go hand in hand. When it comes to patience, one of the things I always struggled with early on, when I was a kid and as a young adult, was I always wanted everything right now. And it's unfortunate, because that's how we're programmed now as a society. Instant gratification in almost everything we do, from the food we eat to what we watch on TV. Even today, my kids, were putting Netflix on for my kids, and they have the attention span of an ant because they have so many options. They put something on and it's like, oh, I don't want to watch this. I want to watch that I saw on Netflix. And there's like, man, when I was a kid, you had like, what was on cable. That was your choice. So, what could you talk on that, man? Talk about like how to counteract that and go against the grain of society when it comes to that patience factor. Everything is, we live in a now society, whereas as entrepreneurs, you kind of have to break that mold. So I'd really love to get your insight on that.
So, I mean, you kind of brought up a good point. So kind of to piggyback on that for a second, like we all live in this world of wanting things now. I mean, even in the technology industry, I mean, we had, remember dial-up internet, right? So
God,
just
yeah.
the fact that we had internet, people were grateful. But see what the reaction was? Oh my God, yeah, it was so slow, right? So, then they start coming out with things like FiOS and gigabit speeds, and, it's still not fast enough for people. And in the wireless side, it's like, we had 3G, right? And 3G was awesome because you had internet. And then 4G came out, and it was the fastest thing known to man. Now they're working on 5G that makes, 4G look like dial-up, because like people are just in this high demand of instant gratification. And on the entrepreneur side of things, I mean, I see that all the time. So I have a perfect scenario, and I actually hope that these people listen to this part, because they're going to know that I'm talking exactly about them. So without saying any names, they're going to know the scenario. But so here it goes. I'm trying to work up something pretty big right now. Something I haven't really released or spoke about before, but I'm trying to work on something really big. For the people that don't know me, I am a big person in inspiring other people, motivating other people through, obviously, speaking. So that's the purpose behind the podcast. That's the purpose behind a lot of other things that I'm doing. Like, I have a speaking engagement on August 10th. That's my first one. I'm super pumped for that. But so anyway, so I'm trying to structure this big deal, right? And the reason that it's such a big deal is because it involves a lot of moving parts, more than just me. And anybody who is like me would say, hey, I have somebody who has a platform. I have somebody who can make your platform better, right? As far as like doing videos and editing and things like that. And then I have somebody who has this amazing platform that's going to touch thousands and thousands of homes, right? So imagine just like having this platform where you literally have guaranteed thousands of homes. And then you have people that do like okay videos and okay video editing. But then you meet me, and I introduce you to somebody who gives you like cinematic quality, like super ultra 4K HD, whatever other terminology you can use to describe just great video, right? Like, I'm giving you cream of the crop top stuff. So what I'm trying to do is I let these people meet each other for the just sole fact of, hey, you prove what you can provide for this guy, and you're going to really see who you're providing for. So this is going to be a good relationship. And normally when people connect to people like that, the person who connects them usually wants a cut, right? They usually want some money and stuff. But I am a long-term thinker. So here's the definition. There's long-term thinker and there's short-term thinkers. Here's how the long-term thinker goes. I told them, I don't want any of your money. I don't want any of it. I don't want a piece of the deal, because I'm going to teach you how to make more money, because I'm going to make this guy contract with you. And then also, hey, I'm going to introduce you to these guys, and they're going to produce high quality content, which is going to get you more viewers, and I'm going to want a cut of that. I didn't say any of that. I wanted no money. I want to give you a valuable relationship. All I want as a return is access to use the facility that you have and your resources. And then, video guys, I want you guys to produce stuff for me. And I know you usually come with a high dollar figure, but I'm about to put way more money into your pocket than I'd ever pay you. So let's make a deal. You record stuff for me. I'll get you a contract with this big guy. It's going to guarantee you a bunch of revenue you've never seen before. Long story short, the guy on the network side was like, oh, I don't know, sounds good, but was trying to like pretty much steal them for nothing because he's out for himself, right? And then the video people threw a high-ass dollar figure at this dude and was like, yo, if you want us, this is what we're worth. Dude, I never face-palmed myself so hard, like just watching what was happening, because I don't think either party understood what the opportunity was and how much money they can make off each other if they did the right thing.
Yeah.
So I sat down with the one guy. I was like, look, give these guys a chance. You know you want their shit. Maybe you just can't afford them, but that's okay. I'm going to teach you how to do that. And then I go back to the video guys, and I'm like, hey, guys, I know you're trying to make top dollar and you're trying to get paid today, but why don't you cut some of that profit out of it real quick, and let's get you a contract with this guy for the next 6 months, and you'll make more money over the next 6 months than you will that one time trying to charge him an arm and a leg. So we're almost at the end stage now where we're getting ready for contracts. And I think there's going to be a happy medium for everybody. Like, this guy's going to get top-notch quality content, like video-wise. And these guys are going to get a contract that they've never had before for a reputable place that's going to pay them way more money than that little bit of money they wanted in the beginning. So the purpose behind that story is to just say, like, there are so many entrepreneurs, there's so many business people that are out for themselves, and they're thinking about the today and they're not thinking about the tomorrow. And this is where the patience comes in. Everybody wants to make, like, let's use let's say the profit's going to be $1,000, right? And if your max profit you can make is $1,000, people will try to make that today instead of making $50 a day for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they want that instant gratification. They want that, well, tomorrow isn't promised bullshit that they say to themselves. So they use that as a weak ass excuse for the reason why they're trying to get money now.
Mm-hmm.
The reality of it is, slow down, be patient, work out a deal, make sure all parties are happy, make sure your customers are happy, make sure you're doing right by your customers, make sure you're doing right by yourself. I ain't telling you to do stuff for free. Don't go broke. But, like, you know, negotiate a little bit and come to agreeable terms on both parties, and you will last in this game a lot longer. I mean, look at, like, the Blockbusters of the world. Look at, like, the Ames. Look at, like, just malls all together. Like, things are going to these, you know, these damn e-commerce guys. You know, they're making all the money now, you know? So
Well, and, you know, it's funny because I was actually gonna kind of touch on that since you brought up short term, and it's
yeah,
actually e-commerce in today's, you know, with today's social media, the way things are, it's actually becoming it's becoming to the point where it's so competitive. I mean, and a lot of things are competitive at this point. But it's becoming one of those things where it's so competitive and you have so many people entering the e-commerce side of things because they're only seeing short term, because you have all these, you know, internet guru sensations and their, you know, Lamborghinis that they're probably, you know, that they probably spent all their money on so they can make a nice YouTube video and tell people they can go on and make $100,000 on e-commerce. You know, but what they don't realize is if you don't find a niche, you know, like drop shipping was like this huge, drop shipping was huge 2 years ago, 3 years ago, people are making, you know, hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in drop shipping. This is just taking stuff from AliExpress or Alibaba, these places in China where they could get this stuff really cheap. They'd run Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and then they would directly drop ship this stuff. Well, the problem is so many people started to do it. There also became a lot of scammers too. So
yep,
now Facebook and Instagram says, look, unless you're a legitimate store or unless you're a legitimate, you know, seller, you know, like I am, like I hold inventory. I have wholesale accounts with different companies. You know, Hyperkin is one of the accounts I have with. I have an account with them, so I do so much sales with them. So unless you're a legitimate store, unless you have a good rating on Facebook, unless you have a good report, we're not going to let you run ads. And if you do, we're going to shut you down. You know, so again, that's those people jumping into something, entrepreneurs looking at the short-term thing. I mean, you might make a lot of money. But what you got to do is you got to be smart with that money you make now, because that's not going to be there in 5 years. That's not going to be there in 10 years. eBay doesn't let you drop ship anymore. You used to be able to drop ship on eBay. But now, of course, you know, all these internet gurus are just finding these gray areas and back doors. Well, guess what's going to happen next year? They're going to find out what you're doing and they're going to cut it back again.
yep.
So, you know, I know there's a lot of people I know who have done this and now they're getting in the real estate. You know, it was something that I did initially because I saw a profit in it, but I also saw long term, like, I can't do this for 10 years. This isn't going to be around for 10 years. I mean, 15 years ago, you could run a Google AdWords campaign and you could have, you know, millions of people to your website. You're not doing that anymore because the price for the price to get eyes on your product is slowly going to go up, and eventually the only people that are going to be able to afford it are these big massive companies. So little guys like me, I'm not going to be able to I'll be able to pay for advertising, but no one's going to see it. So I had to think, okay, like what's my long-term goal here? What am I going to be doing 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20 years from now? It's funny that you mentioned Blockbuster. Blockbuster, it, got taken out by Netflix. All these the whole taxi cab industry got taken out by Uber. These were solutions that they could have come up with but they didn't because they got complacent and they were only looking at short-term profit. What's around the corner for next, what's coming next quarter? What's our statement look like next quarter? So.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I mean, there's so many things that are happening now. I mean, here's a question that I have for you. This would be a fun one. So I don't know if this is the same thing or if it's just a different name or it's a completely different thing. But I've been seeing a lot of like this Amazon FBA stuff where like is that essentially the same thing on like
No, I can
or
so think back to like I don't know the the night era of like where there's a king in a castle. Okay, so the king or a lord had a land. They had land. Okay, they owned the land, and they allowed other people to sell on their land. Okay, but
Mhm,
you had to pay the lord or a king a fee to sell stuff on their land. That's
mhm.
essentially what Amazon FBA is.
Okay.
So you're selling your product, you're sending it to Amazon, and Amazon sells it for you. So if you ever go on Amazon and you look for something, you can shop on something, there'll be like another tab. It'll say this item is, you could buy it from Amazon for a certain type, for a certain amount, or it's available from other sellers. It's available from other sellers from this price point. And if you click on that, it'll show you all the other sellers and their price point selling it on Amazon. That's all Amazon FBA. That's a legitimate way to make money. Again, and that's sort of like eBay, sort of the same way. The only difference between Amazon FBA and eBay is with eBay, you'll actually hold the inventory at your store, your warehouse, your home, whatever. So Amazon FBA, you're actually paying a premium to send it to them. So they handle your returns, they handle the shipping. You cut off all the extra like hard work, I guess. But you still have to do your research, and you still better know what you're doing because you can't just buy whatever you want and throw it on there and expect to make a profit.
So here's the question then, since we're kind of on this topic. Do you think it's worth somebody to pay, Amazon the premium, or do you think they put in the work? Like what's the savings, or like how much more money are they spending roughly? Like, like what do you think is the better route to go? I mean, obviously, I'd imagine what your answer is only because you're not doing Amazon FBA, but like what do you think?
So it pretty much comes down to what you're selling. There will be a lot of private labels on Amazon. Do you know what private labeling is?
No, I'm not that smart yet. I'm trying.
So private labeling is essentially say I want to sell yoga mats, but I want to put my logo on there. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I'll contact a manufacturer. Most of these manufacturers are in China. I'll contact this manufacturer and I'll find yoga mats and I'll say, I want to buy 100 yoga mats. Can you put my label on? And they'll come back with a price and they'll say we can do that. So then what you'll do is you'll have your logo made and then you'll send it to Amazon. So now if you go on the Amazon and type in yoga mat, there's literally going to be 100 different yoga mats, but like 30 of them might be the same because they're all coming from that manufacturer. They just have different logos on them.
Got it.
So it really depends. Now, if I was going to do that, I would never hold inventory for something like that because no one's ever going to see my stuff because that's something that's hot on Amazon. So, people really aren't going on Google anymore and typing in yoga mat for sale. They're going on Amazon and they're typing in yoga mat.
Right.
So you kind of understand
Yeah,
why
that
I
makes
do it
sense.
the way I do it.
Yeah.
So I don't really private label anything. The stuff I sell directly is I actually sell either products that are made from a manufacturer that you can't get on Amazon or eBay. I mean, you can, they'll sell their stuff on there, but Amazon has like weird restrictions. Or the stuff that I build, they're custom built, so you'll never find it on Amazon unless you're specifically looking for it.
Gotcha.
So the people that are looking for what I sell, it's just extremely, extremely specific. So they're actually going into Google and they're typing it in, and you won't find it on Amazon or eBay.
That makes sense. That's why I was curious. I see a lot of people doing it, and like, just me. I mean, it comes down to I look at we're the same person essentially. Like, I look at how much I do in a day, and this kind of starts into the second part of what we want to talk about. Work ethic is like, I already do a lot. I mean, I own a consulting company that I'm starting to gain contracts with people to consult with their business and grow their business. I'm doing quite a few credit repairs, every few days. And so I'm always getting a lot of people messaging me, and I'm fitting that in on top of making sure that I have the kids, on top of making sure the 5 Verizon stores are running well, on top of making sure I'm saving people money on their electric and teaching other people how to do it. Like, some would say I do a lot, but I find time somehow still. Like, I find time where, like, my girlfriend and I were coming home today, and, we were visiting one of her friend's house, and I was like, what are we doing tomorrow? And she was like, I don't know. I know we're going to the gym, but, like, we don't really have anything else planned. And I was like, what? Like, I haven't heard that in like 4 or 5 months. We're like, wait, we have, you sure? Like, nothing. We don't have to like drive anywhere. We don't have to present anything. Nothing. She's like, no. So like,
How lost did you feel, Dylan? I mean,
yeah, I was just gonna say that was one of the things. Like, so I had about a whole second and a half that I'll admit that I was like, wow, I have nothing to do tomorrow, right? And it felt good for a second, I won't lie. And then all of a sudden, my anxiety kicked in. And I was like, why the fuck don't you have anything going on tomorrow? Who are you? And like, how are you finding time? How do you allow yourself to have this time? What are you doing tomorrow? You have to find things to do now. And I'm like, I wonder if I could add something else to my workload. So
now, do you do a I follow this the CEO of First Form. I don't know. You've probably heard of First Form.
Andy
Frisella.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I was listening to a podcast of his, and he was talking about a power list. I think he called it a power list.
Yep.
And this is something I've actually always done. I didn't know there was a term for it. I'm just like I'm scatterbrained, and I can multitask very well. But the problem is I'll like start doing so much at once, I'll actually forget some of the things I need to do. So probably about a year ago, I started putting. At first, it was like more of a to-do list, but after I started listening to him, he has his power list, and his power list is you do these things that typically are not habitual. So for me, obviously, going to the gym would not be on my power list. That's something I'm going to do regardless. That's something I enjoy doing. But what should be on my list is something that I might not feel comfortable doing all the time, like talk to a stranger about, the stream opportunity, talk to, a random. I actually don't normally have a problem talking to random people, fortunately, but there's certain topics that I get uncomfortable with, or, it's just in, I guess, everyone's DNA at some point. Like sometimes I just want to be left alone, especially when I go to the gym. And this has actually kind of been hard for me lately, is I've always gone to the gym and I've worked out. I've put my headphones on. It was leave me alone. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Because I have my one goal is there. My one goal to be there is to work out, get a hard workout in, get the endorphins pumping so I feel great. And it's essentially therapy for me. But since launching my supplement company, doing other things with people, I've become more social in the gym. So that's actually one thing that, like, for me now, I would put on there. Talk to one random person at the gym I don't know and introduce my supplement company to them.
Nice.
which I enjoy doing. I mean, because again, it's about changing people's lives, and I was always interested when there was new products. But I would say definitely when it comes to that work ethic, that list is huge. That will change your life. Plus, when you get that list done, it's almost like a little bit of a relief afterwards because I don't know about you, but my problem was I would get the list done and it would be 6:30, 7 o'clock at night or in the evening after dinner. And I'd be like, what else can I do? I gotta do more. I gotta do more. But one of his things was like you should just do your list and then you're good. And I kind of started to do that. It's helped it has helped my sanity quite a bit.
Yeah, dude, I get it. I mean, it's how can I say, like, I remember back when I was just some punk kid and like my to-do list was wake up by like no earlier than like 11 a.m. and kind of roll around, do whatever, see what my friends are doing, you know, go hang out with them. And I mean, for lack of a better term, like go be worthless. Like I'm not being productive in that day. So it's funny how now if I do any less than 10 to 12 things a day, I feel the same exact way that I did back then.
Yeah.
Where like I didn't accomplish anything, I didn't do anything. Like if I have that leftover time, I'm like I go back and reflect and I'm like, did I shortcut something? Did I miss something? Like how am I done by now? Because one of the things I had to discipline myself with was waking up early. So that's something I always hated doing. I was never a morning person, and to this day, I still am not a morning
Oh,
person.
trust
But
me, I feel you. I feel you on that, brother.
yeah, like, and because I'm not a morning person, I'm forcing myself to be the change that I need. Because obviously, we're always looking for a change to adjust ourselves. So I adjusted the time I woke up. Like, I think it was yesterday or the day before. It was like late at night, and my girlfriend was like, "Oh, what time are you waking up tomorrow?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm waking up like 7:30 or 8 o'clock or something." She's like, "Why?" And I was like, "Because even though I don't have to do anything till like 11 o'clock, I think it's still important for me to wake up at a decent time." And she was like, "Wow." She's like, "Okay, I'm proud of you. Like that's good." Because like that's just something different. It's something I would have never done before. But you know, the goal is to have all of these times where I wake up, like sometimes even 6:30, 7 o'clock. Like, I'll wake up sometimes and I'm just super amped. I'm just like, let me go attack the day. And I don't know, man. Like, I guess I'm putting in all this time now because I want the future me to be able to wake up whenever the hell he wants because I'm not chasing a bunch of things. Like I'm down with the chase and the grind right now, and I'm going to work 10 times harder than anybody ever will because I want to retire, sooner than that average age of 65, 70 years old and living on 80% of what I've been making for the past X amount of years. Like that's just not me.
Well, there's something to be said, first of all, about getting up early. I mean, I've gotten up for years. I mean, when I was in the military, I had to get up at an absurd time. I mean, I'm
Or,
talking, yeah, it was like 4 a.m.
uh,
And I hated that. I hated that. But as I do it now, sometimes I'll wake up. I don't know. Sometimes I'll have to be at the gym at 6 a.m. So I'll wake up 5:15. And dude, I hate it. But you know what? It's like I used to tell my clients when I would train them in the gym, oh, you don't like doing something? Good. We're going to do it more often because there's a reason why you don't like doing it. You need to do that. You don't like doing squats because you have poor hip flexibility and it makes you feel uncomfortable. So guess what we're going to be doing? We're going to be doing lots of squats. And it's stuff like that. It's stuff like that that really kind of puts that work ethic in your mind. So later on, like, oh, you know what? I told myself I couldn't do squats and I did them and now I'm killing it. So why can't I do this now? So guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to, go make $200,000 a year this year, or I'm going to go, help 100 people, save, fix their credit, you know?
Yeah, I
It
mean,
helps
there's
you accept those when you start small like that, like you said, waking up early, it helps you make those bigger meet those bigger challenges.
yeah, you got to have small wins throughout the day. We were just talking about this earlier. Like Brad, George, Eric, and myself, we were talking about the importance of just small wins. Like get up and like when you first wake up, not laying around as long, like just getting up and starting the day. And what do you do when you start the day? And making those small little changes that become small accomplishments because they're things you would have never done before. So since you do them now, that's a win. That's progress. And the more you do that, you kind of get yourself into the winning mentality. And before you know it, you're going to be on a podcast one day and somebody's going to ask you, how'd your past 2 weeks go? And it's going to be nothing but wins.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it works. There's no other way that it'll work. Like, you have to be patient, but you have to be consistent and you got to put the damn work in. There's no other secret sauce. Like, I've spoken to people and they're just like, yo, I see like you're killing the game. Like, you must make so much money and your life looks so great and everything about you is so great. And I'm like, thanks, but no, it ain't. Like, it isn't. And the reason it isn't is because, yeah, you may see me shine now, but you have no idea the massive amount of work and the massive amount of sacrifice and patience that it took. All the punches in the face, all the no's, all the everything that like I went through to get myself there. And I can promise you one thing, there ain't a lot of people in this world that are willing to take those punches in the face consistently every single day. Because if they were, they'd be in the same boat as me.
Oh yeah. And to touch on that a little bit, it's going back to those daily wins or even sometimes it's how you deal with those losses. And this is a big stumbling block for people. And I was even talking to my business partner on Wednesday when I had all this trouble with the graphic design, and I called him and I was upset because this person told me they would have this to me days ago. And then when I'm talking to them, oh, suddenly I'm on vacation. I can't do this now. And I'm just like, I expect my partners to work as hard as me, whether it's my, CFO, my graphic designer, someone doing my shipping for me. They got to work as hard as me. And if you can't, at least give me a heads up. Like, set the expectation for me. So if you're going to disappoint me, at least I see it coming. Don't blindside me.
Yep.
So this happened, and I was telling my partner, and I was like, dude, I'm not mad. I said, I'm mad. I said, number one, I'm going to handle this shit. It's going to get done. It's going to get done right. I'm just keeping you in the know so you know what's going on. He goes, no, man, I get it. You got it. You're killing it. He goes, but this is why people don't start businesses. I'm like, it doesn't bother me, but that's what people have to realize right there is how are you going to handle those little losses, man? When I'm met with those challenges, I feel like I really excel because I feel like I have to prove people, you know what I mean? Like I have to prove them wrong. Before I started working out, this was years ago, I was overweight. So back in 2009, I weighed like 240 pounds. And I really started to work out, man. I was like doing the P90X at home in my basement. I was really enjoying myself. And I remember I came home, I bought my first like tub of protein from GNC. I was like, I think it was like 20, 23, 24 years old. And I put it on the counter. My mom was watching my daughter. And she's like, oh, what's that for? I'm like, oh, I'm working out. I'm trying to lose weight. And I love my mom, and my mom loves me. Our relationship has always been nothing other than great. And she's like, well, I hate to tell you, kid, but it's in our DNA that, you're just, we're overweight, you know? And at first it didn't bother me, but then I started like thinking about it, and she didn't mean any hurt by it, I'm like, fuck that, dude. Fucking gonna tell me I can't do some shit? I went and I lost 80 pounds in like a year because she told me, and I know it was out of love. It wasn't out of anything other than love. She wasn't, but because she told me that, it set that fire. And now I always kind of use that when someone tells me I can't do something, or someone tells me, oh, that's hard to do, or, it's hard to sell on eBay. It's hard to do e-commerce. It's hard to, there's too many supplements already. There's too many, you're not going to make any money, or, you're just going to be white noise. Nah, man. I kind of went off on a little tangent there. I don't even, but I guess that goes back to work ethic somehow.
Exactly. No, I agree 100%, man. Like, I mean, you got to have a goal in place, and you got to be willing to take the punches to the face and be like, no, I'm going against the grain. Like, you can't tell me what the rest of my life is going to look like. You can't tell me what shape I'm going to be in. You can't tell me how successful I'm going to be. And don't put your limitations on me. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean I can't do it.
Yeah, precisely. And you start and you go back to those little wins throughout the day, man. A lot of people who are not in a situation, or they're in a situation where they really want to better their life, that's what they quite don't grasp is, well, how is waking up at 5 going to change my life? You know what I mean? Because they hear a lot of gurus say that, and it's almost kind of overplayed. And there's people still like who disagree with that. Maybe for some people, look, I know a lot of successful people who sleep in. They sleep till 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yep.
I can't. I just naturally can't sleep that late. I mean, I don't like waking up super early, but 11's way too late for me. But you know what? They're still successful. Maybe they stay up till 3 a.m. I don't stay up that late. So it's all kind of based on the person. But I think what gets lost in the message is that it's not about waking up at 5 a.m. That's like, there's nothing you're going to do at 5 a.m. that's going to make you successful. It's getting in that habit of doing something you don't like to typically do is going to change your mindset and how you kind of think how you kind of look at things and view things, and see how you can kind of work differently in the world as opposed to everybody else. Because if you're going to be successful, you have to live like nobody else. I always say, and I get it from Dave Ramsey, live like no one else now so you can live like no one else later. And there's so much truth to that saying. There's a lot of principles I don't necessarily agree with him on, and that's just natural, but I think that saying is just something that is like really stuck with me.
No, I love that statement. And to kind of just go off of what you were saying before, like, so what's the best way I can put this? Like, I think we both know a guy that, doesn't wake up as early as we do, but like you said, it's not about the time you wake up, because you can still crush your goals at 11 a.m., 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock in the morning. It doesn't matter that. It's, what do you hate doing? Whatever you hate doing is what we're going to do, because there's a reason you hate it. It's because it pushes you past a comfort zone, and it forces you to have a change, whether it's a physical change, whatever it is that may be. If you cannot wake up in the morning, that's because you choose not to. Now, use that same effort that you would apply to making sure you could go to a concert, making sure you don't miss a football game, making sure that you don't miss that dinner tonight with your friends, or making sure that you're the first one to download that first song. If you can apply those same amounts of effort into saying, you know what, I'm going to better myself by waking up early because I know I fucking hate it, you're going to notice a different result, because now you're disciplining yourself to, like, take those punches to the face and just roll with them and get past them.
Yeah, exactly. It all becomes about mindset, when it comes to your work ethic. And it really is amazing how often you'll hear people say, and I think you touched on it before. Oh, you didn't really touch on it. It was somebody else I was listening today. They let their circumstances really dictate, the result of their lives, and not necessarily like in a good way. So you can use circumstantial things in your past to propel you, like how I told you about, like with my mom said, or you could let those circumstantial things dictate how you're gonna live. Like, you're always gonna have something come up. Maybe your car's leaking oil. Maybe your kid needs braces. Maybe you got to take your kid to the eye. I always say kid stuff because I got kids, and usually they're they're the ones that got something going on.
Yeah.
But no matter what, those things are always going to be there. Those things are always going to be there. It's always it's how you're going to kind of weave in and out of those obstacles is what's going to propel you. So when it comes to work ethic, don't let those circumstantial things get in the way.
Agreed, 100%, man. And I mean, I think it's safe to say, like, that is, if you want to call it, like, the secret sauce that everybody's looking for. What's the secret to success? Go do the shit you don't want to do, because that's going to turn you into the person that you need to be to accomplish the shit that you want to accomplish. Because guess what, in business, there's a lot of things we have to do that we don't want to do. Do you think that John wants to go, wake up and pack inventory and get stuff ready and ship stuff out every day and drive to wherever he drops stuff off? Do you think that while I'm sitting at home with my family and knowing I can put something off, for somebody that, till later, how can I explain this? So like, it could be 8:30, 9:30, 10:30 at night. I've done credit repairs at 1:00 in the morning. I've done them super early in the morning before people go to work. Do you think that I wake up super early after staying up all night and I'm super happy about doing it? No, but I know it's necessary that it needs to get done because, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, you have to realize creating a business, you are the servant to the people. You have to provide value. You have to differentiate yourself from the rest of the competition because, as you said before, like e-commerce, there's a lot of people doing what you do. There's a lot of competition in every industry. So you need to differentiate yourself by doing things others won't do, including, providing a certain level of service and just going out of your way and providing value for customers. So life is all about doing shit you don't want to do to be successful. I think that's pretty safe to say, right?
Yeah. And it's not easy, man. I get it. Like some people don't want to do it. Some people are comfortable being comfortable, but this isn't for them. You know what I mean? It's not. And that was one of the things I learned early on. And it was one of the things my wife had to really adjust with. Now she's just a monster, man. She's a savage. I love it because she sometimes motivates me. Like I know I have to make a list of prospects. I'm sitting there packaging stuff up tonight, and she's like, "Hey, I got this list. Look at this list." I'm like, "I love you so much right now. Like you're awesome because this is something I've needed to do for like a couple days now, and I never made it to my list." And it's just one of those things where early on, she was like, it was tough because she didn't understand why I was up till 11:00, 11:30, sometimes midnight, getting packages ready for the mail in the morning. And because our life early on before that was we would put the kids to bed at 8:30, we would sit on the couch and we would watch Netflix. That was our night. And we enjoyed that time together, but at the same time doing that, we can always still have time for that. We can always, pick a night. I think after we're done here, we might go watch an episode of Stranger Things or something because thankfully I got my list done. And you were the last one on the list, by the way, today, Dylan. But that's always going to be there. We're always going to have opportunity for that. But what's not always going to be there is that time we have, that window in our life to where we can capitalize on and really make a change to improve our lives 10 years down the road. So that was one of the things early on for her that was tough. And, luckily for her, I was showing her the account, and I think that was like a motivator for her. Like, oh, okay, this works. And when she asked for different things to buy, I wasn't telling her, you needed to wait till I get paid. I don't think I've told my wife you have to wait till I get paid for probably 2 years now, because I took that work ethic and I applied it, of the doing stuff I didn't like to do, and I applied it to areas in my life. So.
And how would you say, let's say maybe the person who you were 2 years ago, would you say that person would be doing all the same things you're doing today?
From 2 years ago, no, because like I said, it's always a progression. I didn't have. I started to take areas. It's like a recipe. You look at. Success is really just a recipe that you kind of improve on over time. Like the first time I ever made, I remember I made these pumpkin cookies. Me and my wife had just moved in together, and they sucked, dude. They were terrible. They were awful. They were disgusting. I mean, they were okay. It was just way too much cinnamon. It was like you could eat one and then you were good, and then maybe you have another one tomorrow. They just weren't very good. But I made them every year because I made them around Thanksgiving, and then every year I would continue to make them. We've been together for 13 years now, and now it's like something we love. Like we indulge in them. We can't wait. Like the kids love when we make them. They're really good. But because I took something early on and I kind of improved on that recipe. So I learned what worked 2 years ago, and I started to put that in other areas of my life. I started to, you know, at first it was reinvesting into my own, e-commerce business, or I was just reinvesting in things I was getting from thrift stores to sell at a bigger profit margin. Well, now I'm reinvesting in what I'm making and I'm building companies. So I took that early on. I learned how to reinvest, just that small little knowledge of how to reinvest certain things and expanded on it. So I think I was within the same mindset, but I continued to keep my mind open and grow to learn new things and learn how to do certain things. Does that answer your question?
That does. It answers it exactly the way I thought it would be. I
Okay.
mean, minus the cookies, but
Yeah, I had to throw an analogy in there. Look, dude, I'm an inner fat kid. It's either food or it's either going to be a food reference or a gym reference. So
yep.
I'm actually looking at, go off topic here. I'm actually looking at, my business partner doesn't drink protein shakes. He's like never has. He's just a freak or whatever. And I was like, good, man, I'm going to handle that part of everything. So I'm like coming up with all these different flavors. I'm like, oh man, I could do like today I'm giving my kids cereal and I'm like, you know what I like? Smacks. I want to make a Smacks flavored protein shake because my inner fat boy, like I loved Smack cereal when I was a kid. Stuff like that,
Well,
dude.
remember, you got to give me some of that pre-workout stuff, man. I got to try it.
I have some. In fact, I'll have more on Tuesday. So, actually, I won't see you on Tuesday. I'll see you eventually. I'll see you soon enough.
Yeah. I believe, are you going? Yeah, no, we'll see each other soon enough. We got to either do that double date we talked about, or worst case scenario, we have the stream meeting on the 15th.
Exactly. So,
Cool. Well, that wraps all up for me, man, unless you got something you want to finish out for the people.
no, I don't, man. Like I said, just to kind of bring it all home, man, understand that nothing is an overnight success. And you've touched on this, people see the finished product or the cookies in the oven as they bake, but they don't see the messy part, of mixing everything together. They don't see that. So you have to remember to be patient. Also, one of the things, and I kind of wanted to touch on this and I sort of forgot, so I'll mention it quick, is really kind of know where your place is when you are, as you're growing, kind of realize where you're at. I think what a lot of people early on is when they start to have early success, look, my business partner, he's way out of my league. Like he's where I want to be maybe 10 years from now. So I got to sometimes check myself and go, you know what? He's my mentor. He's what I look up to. I'm going to emulate him, but I got to keep in mind, like, I'm not on his level yet. You know what I mean? Like, I got to check myself every now and then and be like, okay, I'm not there yet. One day, but I got to keep, I got to remember, I'm not trying to keep up with the Joneses. I see where I'm at. I'm in my maybe, sophomore year of entrepreneurship. He's like,
He's graduated.
Yeah. He's like a 10-year veteran training the rookies and sophomores type of thing. So just try and remember that. So patience and kind of understanding where you're at is definitely key. And then work ethic. Start doing the small things you don't like doing, even if it's something like getting up early. So again, because it's not about the action, it's about the mindset.
Yep. 100%.
On that note, man, I got nothing else for you unless you want to add anything.
Last thing I do want to say is there was a almost like a quote, if you want to call it that I've heard. I mean, I think we've all probably heard it where, people say the best time, to do something, there's usually one time, but I say that there's two times. And so, for example, like, the best time to invest in Google was, 20 years ago. Oh, if I only invested in Google 20 years ago, look how rich I'd be. If I invested in Amazon 20 years ago, imagine how rich I'd be. Well, guess what, motherfucker? Do it now. Do it now. Execute now. That is part of work ethic. Execute now. Be patient. Work your ass off. And then 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now, it's all good. You're going to grow. You're going to continue to grow. And then people are going to look at you and be like, damn, man, I should have did that 20 years ago. And then you can say, you know what? I'm glad I did it right away. So
Yep.
there's two times. Way back then, best time ever. Everybody thinks it's the best time ever. The next best time ever is right now.
I would say Nike was onto something when they came up with the phrase "just do it." So, all right, guys, do us a favor again if you're listening. Please share this, whatever platform you're listening this on. Give us a share, comment below. Let us hear your thoughts on some of these things. But our goal here is not to monetize and make this thing. I never even thought about getting any income off this, but our thing is here, we just want to maybe reach out to one person each episode. If it's more than that, that's awesome. That's why we're doing this, just to give somebody that extra boost or maybe some insight that they haven't heard quite yet before. So again, that's why it's important that you share it. That's all we're asking for. It'll probably be another 2 weeks until we do another one. Dylan, it's been a pleasure as always, man. And thanks everyone for joining.
As always, bro. Love it. All right, guys. Have a good one. Remember, execute now. Stop waiting.